BIA Subcommittee meeting, November 12th, sound check 1, sound check 1. we are live.
Okay, good morning. I would like to call the BIA subcommittee meeting to order. Please remember that all electronic devices are to be switched to a non-audible function during committee meetings. And also a reminder that all committee members are to have cameras on during the meeting. Before I do roll call, I would like to welcome the new member, David Taylor, representing the Dundas BIA. Stephanie Wheeler is now the representative from the Ottawa Street BIA, and until she has been in an acting role until now. So welcome to both of you. I will now commence a roll call. Councillor
Sorry, Madam
Huang.
Chair, to interrupt. David's autopilot. David, I assume that's you in the meeting twice.
Yes, I will turn that off. I apologize.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Councillor Huang,
Present.
Councillor Pauls,
Present.
Councillor Wilson,
Present.
Tracy from Westdale,
Here.
Susan from Waterdown, Heather from Ancaster,
Here.
Doris from Concession, Bettina from Lock Street, David from Dundas,
Here.
Nadine from Barton Village,
Here.
Emily from downtown,
Here.
Stephanie from Ottawa Street.
Here.
Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda, Madam Chair.
May I have a mover and seconder to approve the agenda as presented? Moved by Stephanie, seconded by Heather. Is there any discussion on the changes? All in favor? Carried. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none. Move on to 4.1. May I have a mover and seconder to approve the minutes of the October 8th, 2024 meeting as presented? Madam Clerk, did you have anything you wanted to comment on that?
Sure, we just need the mover and the seconder
Okay.
first.
Moved by Nadine, seconded by Stephanie. Is there any discussion, Madam Chair? Or Clerk, sorry.
Yes, Madam Chair, through you. There are unfortunately a few errors in the minutes, mostly in the attendance list. Most notably, Madam Chair, you are missing in the attendance list. And at the end of the end of the minutes where the sign off is, it should be Susan Penny because she was the chair of the last meeting. So I'll make those sort of housekeeping changes. So the minutes will be approved as amended here today.
Okay, great. All in favor? And carried. Now we're on to 8.1, updates for the business improvement areas from the International Downtown Association. Judy Lamb, the manager of commercial districts and small business, is here to present updates for BIAs on the International Downtown Association Conference. Welcome, Judy. Is Judy here? Christina, do you know if Judy's coming?
She was supposed to. I can text her and see. She's probably she always has back-to-back meetings.
Okay.
I'll text her now.
Okay, so then should we move on to motions, Clerk?
Yeah, if we want to defer this item until after motions, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
So we need a mover and a seconder to defer this.
Can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Emily, seconded by Heather. All in favor? Carried.
Pardon me, that was Emily and Heather.
Yes. So now we're moving on to motions. 11.1, Lock Street Business Improvement Area request. And Tracy, do you have your request?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
So
go
the
ahead.
Lock Street Business Improvement Area expenditure request, that the expenditure request from the Lock Street Business Improvement Area in the amount of $2,691.94 be spent on the streetscape planters, hanging baskets, and the watering of both, funded from the 2024 contribution to operating budget program for the business improvement areas. BI payment account 815-010-56905 be approved.
Okay, moved by Tracy. Do you have a seconder, Tracy?
No, sorry, I hope someone can second it,
Okay,
please.
seconded by Nadine. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Carried. 11.2 on to Stony Creek. Tracy, go ahead with that.
That the expenditure request from the Stony Creek Business Improvement Area in the amount of $9,923.36 be spent on the streetscape items and hanging baskets, plant materials and watering of the planters hanging baskets funded from the 2024 contribution to operating budget program for the business improvement area. BIA payment accounts 81501056905 be approved
Okay, moved by Tracy and
and request for a
seconded,
seconder.
seconded by Susan. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're on to 11.3 for Westdale. Tracy, go ahead.
Okay, that the expenditure request from the Westdale Village Business Improvement Area in the amount of $9,699.15 be spent on the streetscape planter funded from the 2020 contribution to operating budget program for the business improvement area. BI payment account number 81.
Oh, Tracy, you cut out there. Can you repeat the last little bit?
Funded from the 2024 contribution to operating budget program for the business improvement areas. BIA payment account 81501056905 be approved.
Okay, moved by Tracy and seconded by Doris. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Carried. Now on to 11.4. Heather from Ancaster BI8, please introduce your motion.
Pardon me,
Ancaster-
before you continue on, I see Bettina has joined the meeting. Bettina, can you please turn your camera on so that we know you're there? Councillor Pauls as well. Thank you.
Okay, Heather, go ahead.
I'm sorry,
Ancaster
hold
Village.
on one second. Bettina, I see that you are in a car. Can you please confirm that you are not driving your car? Bettina, I need you to please confirm that you're not driving your car, and I need you to turn your camera on.
I'm not driving, but I am going to be driving in a minute. I'm just
You
waiting
can't-
for a car to move.
You cannot be driving your car and participating in the meeting.
Okay, then I'll have to sign off. Tracy's here representing Lock Street.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Are we good to move on, clerk?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Heather.
Ancaster Village Business Improvement Area expenditure request. That the expenditure request from the Ancaster Village Business Improvement Area in the amount of $5,283.45 be spent on the promotion of the Ancaster Business Improvement Area and its events funded from the 2024 Parking Revenue Sharing Program. Parking revenue account 81501052505 be approved.
Okay, moved by Heather. And do you have a seconder, Heather? Or?
No.
Okay, seconded by Susan. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Carried. On to 11.4 or 5 for Ottawa Street. Stephanie Wheeler, please introduce your motion.
That the Ottawa Street Business Improvement Area expenditure request, that the expenditure request from Ottawa Street Business Improvement Area in the amount of $12,125.17 be spent on beautification initiatives funded from the 2024 contribution to operating budget program for the business improvement areas BIA payment account 81501056905 be approved. And that the expenditure request from the Ottawa Street Business Improvement Area in the amount of $16,884.50 be spent on beautification initiatives funded from 2024 Parking Revenue Sharing Program, Parking Revenue Account 81501052505 be approved.
Okay, moved by Stephanie, seconded by Nadine. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Carried. I'm going to pass the chair over to Susan so I can do mine now for International Village. That the expenditure request from the International Village BIA in the amount of $12,362.71 to be spent on banners, decor, and activations funded from the 2024 Parking Revenue Sharing Program, account number 815010-52505 be approved. Moved by myself. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Susan. Oh, you're muted, Susan, I think.
There we go. Sorry, my click is not working today. Can we have a seconder on that motion? I
I've
see
got
Emily's
Emily.
hand
Yeah.
up. So can we now have a vote? Is there any discussion on that?
Pardon me, that was Emily, yes? The seconder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, if there's no discussion on the motion, can you please indicate if you're all in favor? And carried, and I will hand the chair back to Susie.
Okay, great. So let's wrap back to 11 or to 8.1. I see Judy's on the call now. So introducing Judy Land, the manager of commercial districts and small business, is here to present updates for BIAs on the International Downtown Association Conference. Welcome, Judy. Go right ahead.
And I apologize I had an issue with WebEx, but I think I'm all connected now. I will share my screen and let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
You can see the PowerPoint?
No,
Or
we
is
just
it-
see the agenda.
Okay.
Now-
Can you see it now?
Yeah, now we see it, Judy.
Just go into full screen. Okay, so, I
Down on the
thought-
bottom, sorry, Judy, down on the bottom right, next to the slide for the size of the screen, you've
Right.
got something that looks like a screen. That's where you get the full screen.
I have 3 screens here. This is why I'm sorry that it
Yeah, in the
is
PowerPoint.
right here. Okay, I think it went over to my 3rd screen, so I'll try to,
Can everyone see this slide as Judy's got it? Okay, go ahead, Judy, continue.
okay, sorry about that. It's full screen on my computer, but it could be because I have 3 screens. So the idea was to sort of give you an idea of what was presented at the International Downtown Association Conference back in September. And that I did want to show that there's different topics that might be of interest to you. The IDA, it's a membership organization for professional place management. And you do have best practices from around the world, but mostly I would say North America. And it does connect you with people similar to your position. I would say when I go, the majority of the organizations are business improvement areas, or a lot of times in the US, they're referred to BIDs, business improvement districts. But really the topics are very much aligned with what you face every day here in your jobs. This year, the IDA was held in Seattle on September, and I would say the format overall is usually a day 1 would be a pre-conference day trip. Day 2, there is also some. And I would say if you ever think about going, the day trips, when you look at the topics, could be very relevant. And, in the beginning, I didn't go to them, but, I try to go to 1 or 2 now, because sometimes just seeing it instead of in a conference center, but actually see it live does make an impact that you can see whether it works for you and how it impacts your BIA. So then the sessions are usually held on day 3 and 4. And it is those breakout sessions that you're going to find topics that will be relevant to you. And I would say that if more than one person goes, there is no way one person can cover all the sessions. So you can divide and conquer and share what you learned from the different sessions.
Judy, we can't see your slides changing, just as an FYI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just still on the first page, the
Oh,
cover
really?
page. Yeah.
Or I usually, I'm not bad at this stuff, but I wonder if I move things over.
Now we see the agenda again.
Do you want to stop sharing and share again and ensure that you've picked
Yeah.
the PowerPoint rather than the screen?
Okay, let me move this. There, I'll try sharing again.
Councillor Wang, did you have a question also?
Can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yeah, now we can see it.
Oh, great. Thank you. Apologize for that.
There we go.
Great. Okay, so I'll go back. This was the format in terms of day 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then, and I just thought I'd give you examples of topics. Therefore, and this is no way suggesting that, you know, this is what you might be interested in, but this is some of the ones that I did attend on a lot of them. The Clean Streets Partnership as an example. Obviously, a lot of us are facing that is what happens with beautification, clean streets, how are they tackling that, the metrics, how they communicate that to their board, and the impacts that they also are serving is there's the homelessness issues that most of cities I see that are also affected by that. There was an interesting session on economic development, and it was geared to the BIAs, and it was about learning effective strategies on how you can use statistics, stories, storytelling, social to show the impact of your operations. And part of that, whether it's maintaining your cleanliness and safety or enhancing hospitality outreach efforts, a lot of BIAs recognize that that is the reality of some of what they need to do to show their value to their board. And so they had a whole session on statistics and whether some BIAs have a data person that will manage those. The next slide is Beyond Pop-Up. And so this one I would say was something of interest to me is how do we address a lot of the large vacancies? So a lot of it in our downtown right now, it's those office vacancies. And so looking at office to residential conversions, how do we increase the vibrancy and diversity in the downtown and getting away from that it's a 9 to 5 central business district to a 24/7 community with services, amenities. And, you know, the city is also looking at that when we start talking about the nighttime economy. I do have a student group, that master student group that is now looking at a 24/7 capstone project for me for a nighttime economy. So that was of interest to me. Now, the other one that I'm sure all of you are involved with is looking at creating and connecting your digital content and making sure that what you're creating works for you and how you create engaging social media posts with a budget of any size, because I know BIA's budgets range all over, and that how you measure the success with your analytics and return on investment. Another event that I looked at was using events as catalysts, and you can see how this really is BIA related, is how do you look at designing and executing events that transform your BIA and how you create meaningful connections between the individuals and to foster that sense of belonging. And
Sorry, Judy, your presentation isn't working. It's still stuck on one page. It's still stuck on a selection of BIA topics, so I don't think it's actually scrolling through. Just want to let you know.
Are you seeing a selection of BI topics?
Yeah, is that
Okay, I'm still on that slide.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
My bad.
Much luck today. Okay, still on selection of BI topic, but I moved on to the next page, is safety programs and police bureau partnerships. And I know this might be of interest to some because I want to see how other cities, whether BIA's, in this case, there was a partnership with the Portland bid, with the Portland police, and they worked together to create that presence of public safety to improve livability and reduce crime. And so they had real life examples and effective strategies about how they operated in conjunction with the police. Another presentation was the BIA had ambassadors. And, you know, we've talked about ambassadors. I know I've thought about them and how they could impact, let's say, our downtown issues. And in this case, the ambassadors are hired by the BIA. And what was interesting is they had the presentation by 2 ambassadors, and they were so engaged in terms of they recognize that a lot of their issues are those unhoused and also those that might be having issues. And so they work with them and also try to help them find solutions to whether it's homeless or addictions. And so I remember thinking the ambassadors were the most enthusiastic, believing in what they do. And so that was actually very interesting to hear. The just for excerpts, because I'm not allowed to share the presentations, but I took little excerpts so you can see. For the example that I mentioned, the Downtown Portland Clean and Safe bid, they are faced with many similar issues: a growing houseless population, many with substance abuse, use, and undiagnosed mental health conditions. And they were setting up structures in public right-of-ways. They also have a big racial justice movement. They have increased vacancy and less people downtown, and they also face decriminalization for possession and increase in public use of drugs. So I know that we are facing those issues in Hamilton as well. So they created this partnership. And just in this case, they had hired Garda to be the partner. So they recognize that the police are there to deal with crimes, any violent incidents, whenever you feel safe. I know they said that to us recently. If any business doesn't feel safe, you need to call the police. Now, what they do is then they have their downtown partnership where they will deal with the welfare checks. They deal with unwanted people that might be loitering, maybe a business doorway. They deal with disorderly conduct. If something doesn't look right, they assist with getting help. But if they do see a crime in progress, they also know to call 911, and they deal with low-level trespass. So on the right, where I have calls for service, in 1 year, you can see that they're dealing with, you know, tens of thousands of numbers. So that they do have a large block, that's 213 blocks. So it would be a much bigger, probably BIA than a lot of what you have. Not saying, and I'm not trying to imply that that's something we could do, but it's just interesting to learn from what other cities and BIAs are doing.
Sorry, Judy, just to let you know, your presentation isn't scrolling. We're still stuck on the first page.
Judy, do you want to stop sharing your presentation and I'll share it and then you'll tell me when to
Sure.
advance the slide?
Right?
And I
So
think
to-
right now you're on slide 7.
Yes, that's right.
Lost count.
Before that.
Oops.
That's it.
Okay.
So just to show the stats, they range from 9,000, let's say, business assist issues, loitering, 7,800, almost 4,000 for sit-in assist, 5,400 for extra patrol for events. So that's how they created a partnership program with the bid in the Portland area. Okay, next slide. So the next slide is how they were using their ambassadors to collect data. And because a lot of what we find here in economic development as well, data is what's going to help you evaluate programs to determine how effective it is and your return on investment. It supports what you already know, stakeholder feedback, or using it to support change that you want. So some of the examples of stats that some of the bids we're collecting was, percentage of hours filled, pedestrian counts, homeless counts, retail vacancies, justifying, some of your property reports, sidewalk graffiti cleanup. It could be biohazard cleanup and contracted pressure washer. So that's some of the examples of reports and data that they were collecting. And then if we move on to the next slide, I just want to show you that some examples of slides was just to show how you can use temporary public art. I just picked a couple. This is in Canada, and it's just fun ways of looking at temporary public art in urban cities and public spaces. And this was called Art Beyond Walls. So a lot of times you can look at what other BIAs are doing and also finding out who they used and that and how much it might cost. An example is I know that a lot of cities across Canada do attend the IDA conference I know I've met from Vancouver, in Alberta, Saskatchewan, all the way to east in Halifax. They play a big part and they can get involved in IDA Canada. So if we can go to the next slide. And this was just because I was interested right now. It's being, asked. I have an office report going to GIC on December 4th. And, it's usually brought up is what do we do with the office vacancy? So I did look, I found this stat really interesting. This is from Calgary, and we all know that they're facing very severe office vacancy issues. So they had to recreate their idea of what is downtown. And so just to look at those stats, they had 14 million square feet of vacant office space. And that resulted in $16.6 billion loss in property value for downtown office buildings. And the one thing about downtown Calgary was it wasn't as fortunate as Hamilton, where we have a lot of residential surrounding our downtown. We're not just a CBD, and we're not just a 9-to-5 downtown. So because of that, they have to recreate their whole idea of what downtown is. And so because of that, they did get buy-in from council to spend $500 million on recreating the whole downtown. So that means office conversions, ideas about what downtown should have for vibrancy, dedicated downtown teams, transformation for arts. And so they have the Housing Accelerated Fund as well, which we have in Hamilton. But it just shows that when you're losing $16.6 billion in property values, which translates to loss in taxes, that this investment, even though it's almost $500 million, is what's going to bring Calgary back. So that was interesting to show how you use the numbers to sort of convince what actions we need to take. So next slide is just to let you know, in case you're interested, it is going to be held in Washington, D.C. between September 24th and 27th. Washington might be a little easier to get to than Seattle. So I would say, and just to mention that IDA Canada, which I did attend last year, they went to Parliament Hill for Advocacy Day. Just a okay, it is in September, and they did go to Parliament Hill and met with the MPs this year, and I did join them last year, and it's to address Main Street and downtown social challenges that we have, that the federal government needs to do their part in investing in mental health, addictions, and homelessness, and they want to make sure that we have support for safe and inclusive spaces, and looking at the whole system. I guess this year they asked them to look at the bail system across the country, and they want to incentivize urban development through investments in downtowns and main streets that provides employment opportunities and increase housing density and support local entrepreneurs and builds commercial presence. So that was the topics that was raised to the MPs when they went to Parliament Hill back in October. Next slide. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And my contacts. I think you have my contact, but it's at the end. So I think you're on mute, Susie.
Wow, we're batting 1,000 today. I see we have a speakers list, so we'll start with Councillor Wilson.
Thanks very much. Appreciate the presentation. I have 5 questions. I don't get to, my overriding caveat for all of these meetings is, pardon my ignorance, I don't get to attend many of them because they always conflict with planning. So here goes. To Ms. Lamb, what are the objectives that you're hoping to achieve in sharing this presentation with us?
Sure. I think when I've met many other BIAs at these conferences, it's just that I want some of our BIAs to share in that collaboration, that if there's any ideas, because I know that our BIAs are facing a lot of challenges in today's environment, and sometimes it's I know we have OBIA, and I just think that the IDA is an organization with a lot of, even when you join, it's based on your budget, but they have a lot of online webinars and resource materials that they can access in case they just want another source of information and best practices.
Okay, my second question is, who attends this annual conference? Is it just staff, or is it the chair of the BIA coordinating committee that gets to attend with you?
In the past, no one's attended with me. I found that this conference was useful. Anyone is welcome. I would say, if I look at the makeup of the attendees, I would say 80–90% of the organizations are BIAs. And then there's some cities.
Okay. How would a committee member get more information on any or all of these items? Do you have all the contact names in each city that drives each of these programs that you've highlighted?
Some of them I have their presentations, so I do have, when you attend the conference, it's an app and you get all the attendees that were registered. So yes, I can get those names.
Okay. You mentioned that, I thought I heard you say, you mentioned you secured some students to do some work for you, maybe in preparation for some nighttime economy report. Have you shared with the subcommittee your work plan for the year?
No, this was the subcommittee that I've just, in terms of the work plan, it was more, we work a lot with university students, and, you know, when they were looking for a capstone project, I thought about this as a possibility. And so I've involved the tourism and culture, some staff from there as well, just to give input. But no, we haven't. We just got the proposal probably last week in terms of reaching out to some of the BIAs and asking some of the interview questions.
Okay, just so I'm clear on that, this subcommittee has not informed the scope of that work or your work with the students, and they don't have a work plan for the next year.
To know everything that we're working on, no, we have not presented the whole ECDEV work plan.
Okay. I'll save my my last overall question for the end. Thank you.
Okay, next on the speakers list is Nadine.
Yeah, thank you, Judy, for the presentation. I think there's a lot of great information that came out of the conference. I'd be curious to, and maybe to echo Councillor Wilson's question about how we get the actual information. Happy to attend this event in the future if someone wants to purchase a ticket and pay the flight for me to go down. And it looks like there's a lot of cities that are coming up with some really great solutions to some of the problems that we have within our BIAs. I'm wondering if it is the intention for Hamilton to adopt some of these solutions, or if this presentation was more about information and an encouragement for us to attend conferences in the future.
Thanks, Nadine. I think it's more, could be a combination. I attend because I want to see ideas from other cities, what they can do. So I try to take that back in terms of what I learn. And then I think in terms of not suggesting our city necessarily does it, but if I learn something that's interesting, I can bring it up. And I think it's the collaboration now that I see much more with other departments, because what we're seeing downtown, there are a lot of issues, whether it's from cleanliness or, you know, mental health, addictions, homelessness. They are all impacting our businesses in our BIAs. So because of that, I think it does give us education about, you know, what could be happening, and that I can always, once I hear about that or learn about it, it's ideas that hopefully I can also think about and bring forward to other departments within the city that I meet with.
Is that all you had, Nadine?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, certainly interested in seeing what some of these solutions look like. I will say that the one piece of information from this presentation that surprised me was dealing with office vacancies by doing residential conversions. That it surprises me with the number of BIAs that would have been represented at a conference like this, that would come out of it. I don't believe that that's necessarily within the mandate of a BIA to be supporting a residential conversion of a commercial unit. But just
I think what's affected our some of our, especially downtown, is that it does affect the BIA when there's less people coming downtown. And so what we're facing is with the hybrid model and 100% remote is that there's less people on the streets, also less support for our commercial retail and our restaurants if they're not coming downtown every day like they used to. So I guess the question is it better to leave that office building vacant, or would it be beneficial understanding that maybe residential is an option? But it's a complicated issue because there's many buildings that are not convertible. It would cost so much. And also you have to recognize that, yeah, commercial, in terms of taxation to a city, the revenue from commercial is very different than residential. So it does impact a lot of things. It's something that other cities are looking at, but we've been studying this for a couple of years now. Most conversions, if you ever create an incentive, would be quite costly probably. So it's continued engagement with our landlords and property owners.
Okay, next on the speakers list is Susan.
Thank you. Judy, I have a couple of things quickly. Before I get into my one question on that Calgary, I've read a very interesting study on that says the conversions, even if they are affordable and viable within the actual infrastructure of those buildings, that cities are not set up to accommodate full-time residents with respect to schools, grocery stores, and all of the supports that you require around residents. So it is a really interesting conversation, and I've been tapped into that because I think it will have a big impact on cities as they try and reimagine themselves and what that looks like. And the conversion is way beyond just the actual physical conversion of a commercial space to a residential space. But that's a bit of an aside. In terms of this conference, you know, we look at participating in the OBIA as a best practice sharing and staff development, so that if we are going to invest the money from our board to attend those, that those are, you know, it has to have some payback, return on investment on those two measures. And I'm just curious, with your experience with IDA, what the costs are respective to the OBIA, and do we have to be a member of the IDA, and then what are the costs of the conference compared to OBIA? And from your personal experience, if we were trying to justify to our boards why at some point in time it might be appropriate for one of us or some of us on this committee to be attending, if there is an increased value of getting that, participating in that event versus the OBIA.
In terms of cost, obviously the actual registration is not too bad. It's there is a different cost for IDA member, and I think IDA membership they just changed the model in terms it's based on your budget. So you know, if you're under $1 million or under, you know, I think it was. I looked, it was about in the $400 range, let's say, in terms of a membership. And then the conference itself is not too bad when you look at all the sessions there are. I would say it's quite reasonable in the $400 or $500 range. So the difference between OBIA and IDA, would say the travel is the extra. You know, you'll have to usually fly somewhere. It's only been in Canada. I think the closest was Ottawa one year, and that was fairly inexpensive because, you know, people took a train and it wasn't bad. But when it's even Vancouver, it costs more. I would say hopefully with Washington, it's a little less money than flying out west. But the key is when you register, because usually it's in a city, that downtown hotels can cost quite a bit, but they negotiate quite great rates compared to what you would have to do on your own. So for example, Seattle was in the $200 and some range. And when I looked at if you didn't make it in on time, the average hotel rates was more in the $500 range. So usually IDA, because of the size, they have about 14 to 1,600 people that attend. So it's a very large conference. And because of their purchasing power, they negotiate quite good rates for their hotels, and they can give some breaks for flights. So I would say just do a comparison. You can look ahead of time when it's open and look at the program and the agenda just to see if it's something that you think is worthwhile to you. I think, just as a aside, Norm Schlehan, as a director, wanted to understand a little bit more on the downtown side and did attend the last couple with me. And he thought it, of all the conferences, one of the best ones he's ever attended.
Okay, is that it, Susan? Okay, great. So back to Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. I know I asked this question from the floor over a month ago, just to make sure I understand. Do we have a corporate downtown commercial or downtown strategy? And do we have a strategy for all our BIAs? Thank you. Through the chair, whoever.
In terms of a downtown strategy, no, there's been like a downtown secondary plan. What we will be recommending in the office report in December is to ask for approval that we would like to create a downtown revitalization strategy, something that encompasses, you know, sort of look at it long term, up to 10 years, just to think what is the vision of the downtown? What are things that we need to do? And that is something that I haven't seen in the downtown economic development. So this is what we're recommending. Things have changed so much with our office vacancies and with the effects of everything that cities are facing, that this will be part of our recommendation in December. And in terms of an overall strategy for the BIAs, I would say no. What we've done with each BIA is to have commercial market assessments done, and we share the cost of a consultant that will help them. And last year, I did hire a consultant that worked with each of the BIAs to look at their own strategy and their vision, and that was done. Complete in the last couple of years in terms of what do each BIA want to achieve.
Okay, just a comment from me. I think my own personal opinion is I think it would be extremely instructive to have someone actually from the BIAs attend this conference, particularly if it's been characterized as one of the best conferences out there. And if it means a request for money to expend that, I think in my own personal opinion, it would be a very valuable expenditure. And it would show the city's commitment to small business, frankly. I think it would be invaluable for me as a member of this subcommittee to have further information on some of these, at the very least, contact information so that I could pursue. And while I appreciate the fact that every BIA is different, certainly what we're learning is the intersection of some of these conditions of despair is affecting all commercial enterprise across cities in one way or another, and how other entities, particularly in the United States, who may have regrettably been out ahead of us in terms of these expressions of crises, have been dealing with it and using data. And my third comment is, if you did have a work plan to share with this subcommittee, it would maybe save us some time so that we would know what to anticipate, what's coming up ahead, and maybe members being able to inform some of the terms of reference to guide those exercises. Thank you.
Judy, did you have anything to say, or?
No, I think as we prepare for 2025 and look at obviously what the capital budgets process will look like, that yes, we will be talking about the 2025 work plan. And so I can share. Obviously, a lot of times things pop up based on what's happening, and we insert new things into the work plan and adjust it. But yeah, I'd be happy to share.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions for Judy? Okay, may I have a...
Pardon me, Madam Chair, in order to bring the work plan forward, we will need a motion for that to direct staff. So to direct staff for the motion, and Councillor Wilson has the budget piece.
Yeah, I would appreciate a motion if we could have a report back on the budgetary impact or of having the city support the chair of the BIA subcommittee or a delegate to attend. And then if I could also ask in the form of a motion for staff to report back with their 2025 work plan in relation to commercial activity and BIAs, that would be helpful.
All right. Madam Clerk, do we need a mover and seconder for both?
So Councillor Wilson will be the mover. I believe it would be best to have these as two separate motions. So the first one will do the budget. So a seconder for that one.
Okay. Tracy?
Tracy, yeah. So go ahead, we can take the vote.
All in favor? Carried.
And then the second one is on the work plan related to BIAs, and Councillor Wilson is the mover, and I saw Nadine's hand first.
Okay, all in favor? And carried.
And the contact lists, sorry, we're going to, Councillor Wilson would like to add a direction to also add the contact lists, circulate the contact lists of the attendees, presenters at the conference that Judy attended.
Okay, we have a seconder for that. Nadine? And may I have a mover and seconder to receive the presentation. Moved by Tracy, seconded by Susan. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Now we're on to 13.1, updates from Christina Geisler, the BIA officer. She's here with an update for the committee. Go ahead, Christina.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, I have a few updates. I'm going to start with the holiday parking program. As you are all aware, it is returning for 2024, funded by parking. So I have circulated to everybody the marketing materials that you guys can use on your social media channels. I've also, just to let everyone know, have also shared it with our marketing team within economic development as well for to kind of raise awareness of this program coming back. And the stickers for the parking meters and the lists or the numbers of the parking meters and the guide on exactly where to put the stickers. I should be getting all of that by the end of the week. So once I have that, I will coordinate with each of you to get those stickers into your possession. The program does start November 24th and runs until December 24th. It's 2 hours free parking in each of your BIAs, except for Waterdown and Stony Creek. Secondly, just a reminder, the BIA annual reports. Thank you very much to those that have uploaded information. I'm starting to transfer what has been uploaded on sync into our city records. Just a reminder for those that are not yet finished, if you could just make an effort, remember that those BIA audit annual reports are due by December 31st of this year. BIA Awards of Excellence are coming back in 2025. So I did send out an email asking for nominations. Thank you for those that have submitted your nominations. For those that have not, if you could please try and get those in I think the deadline was December 31st as well. It just gives me the month of January to do all of the preparation for the award winners. And if I can get those, that would be very helpful. So I have enough time to do my due diligence on my part. Hamilton Day, by all accounts, sounds like was a success. I did see a communication that came out from Katie Steele from the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. So there is a survey that has been circulated. If we could just ask for all of you to complete it, and if there are any outstanding invoices, to get those to Katie as soon as possible, so those can all be processed and you guys can get reimbursed for what the chamber has committed to do so. And then finally, on the subject of IDA, I'm sure you guys have all seen it, but the OBIA conference has been firmed up for 2025. That is happening March 30th to April 2nd, and it will be hosted in Collingwood this year. So just a reminder for, I think everyone on the subcommittee is an OBIA member. If you're interested in attending, all the information is up on the OBIA website. And that's it for me. Those are all my updates.
Okay, is there any discussions for Christina? Emily?
I just wanted to follow up on the Christmas marketing. We had a short meeting about that and just wanted to see if there's any new information about it.
Not that I'm aware of. I will certainly ask Adam Durant if he has any further direction on that, and ask him to circle back to everybody.
Perfect, thank you.
Is there any other questions for Christina? Tracy?
Just a thank you to Christina and Councillor Wilson. Councillor Wilson's here. Thank you for catching and getting the holiday parking included this year. It's extremely helpful and been very beneficial to our small businesses in Hamilton. Thanks.
Agreed. Any other questions for Christina? Okay, may I have a mover and seconder to receive the update? Moved by Nadine, seconded by Emily. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're on to 13.2. I would now like to invite the BIA members to provide us with their updates. First up is Tracy from Westdale, Stony Creek, and I guess Lock Street as well.
Okay, and I'll just go in order of events so it's in my head easier. So first for Lock Street. So we have our kickoff to the holiday season this weekend called Magic of Lock, and we're very excited to have the Coca-Cola Santa Caravan coming and a bunch of festivities. Knock on wood, weather's okay. People are excited for the holiday start. A lot of shops have switched over, and so we're quite excited for that. We just had one place go up for lease, so we've just got a couple holes in the street. And Edward Jones. So we're very close to full occupancy, which we're quite excited about. And we're just getting ready to have the holiday season. Next in Stony Creek, next is Westdale. So we have our Winter Wander event coming up, which is November 29th, December 1st. So we're incorporating lots of lights and activities with the Westdale Theatre. We're very thankful that the Westdale Theatre is actually doing well with lots of live concerts, so that it brings lots of attractions, and we're a big proponent of arts and business working together for big beneficial, mutual beneficial. Our patios we packed up. We're sad and thankful we had to kick people off the tables. They were used right to the last minute. So again, thankful to Councillor Wilson for making this a permanent program, and ECDEV for supporting it as well. Moving along to Stony Creek. We also have, we're doing a unique thing, we think the first in Canada, that we can see an autism sensory friendly Christmas village lit up, so people either with autism or things like dementia or other disabilities, very sensitivity friendly Christmas village, and we hope that does well and is very inviting and removes a number of barriers from people attending events. So that goes through December. And all 3 areas were participated in the Hamilton Day, which all 3 areas did very well. That's a big event for small businesses. And again, thanks to the city and the chamber for supporting that. We did walking tours in each of them, which a lot of people liked. And then our last thing is we packed up all of our our fall decor, and we were quite excited that a farm was able to materials and cows are enjoying the pumpkins and nothing was wasted. Thank you very much. That's it.
Okay. Thanks, Tracy. On to Susan from Waterdown.
So just you might have noticed, and I couldn't talk about it earlier, but we were very excited to announce that we did receive support from the My Main Streets program, and we were under a communications embargo while we had all of our contracts and all of that signed, but that will allow us to have a legacy portion of that program. So we have some permanent benches that will also have some public art. And through the program, we aligned with 18 different charities, and we'll be making announcements soon, but we'll be putting a lot of money back into the local community through our Caring auction. So that was quite a big project for us this year. Our AGM is next week, so we're busy preparing for that. We have our tree lighting and a big event on November 29th. The Santa Claus Parade, which we have a float in, is November 30th, and our Kids' Day is December 7th. We have a direct mail flyer that's at the printer, and we are crossing our fingers that Canada Post does not go with the labor disputes. Direct mail is a big way that we are now communicating with our local residents, and that's a big one for us if we can't get those brochures out. So everybody cross your fingers for us. Our fall events have wrapped. They were our best and most successful yet, so we were very pleased to see our turnout for the treat walk, and we just did our draw and had a lot of ballots in our scarecrow walk. So those were very successful events for us. Huge news on our Instagram feed. People are loving the fact that Dronkowski's, it's a new sandwich shop, and it opened on Dundas in the former Bliss Kitchen location, which is kind of a real irony in terms of the 2 different businesses, but very popular and doing very well. So that's the news for us.
Okay, great. Now on to Heather from Ancaster.
So we wrapped up our fall events. We had our first year of our new version of the pumpkin pop-up event. That was extremely successful. We had I think over 120 or 130 families come out for that. So that's great for our first year of that one. Upcoming, we have lots of events upcoming. So in the planning stages for that, we have our Letters for Santa, which will be starting this week. We have our AGM next week. We have a small community event that we're just starting out November 23rd, and that will be a sidewalk parade along with ending in visits with Santa. And then we have our large village Christmas and tree lighting on Thursday, December 5th. We are also just putting the finishing touches on our Ancaster BIA magazine. So we'll have a holiday magazine coming out that will go to homes around the area, and we'll be giving that out at the tree lighting event as well. And then we have a few updates. So we have a new Parks West team, and they're excellent. We are really happy with them. So we're working on them for the lighting and decor, the wreaths and everything like that, going through everything and making sure the village looks great for the upcoming holiday events. And then we have the Olive Ward. Unfortunately, the Ancaster location has closed, so that space of the Olive Ward is now available for lease. So that's my updates. Thank you.
Thank you. And on to Doris from Concession. Doris, you're muted.
Good morning, everyone. Our AGM was done. It was on October 17th. All reports have already been finalized. We had, as part of our fall event and kickoff to the Hamilton Day, was a costume parade on November 1st, kicked off the Hamilton Day, and married that with the day after Halloween was when we did our trick or treat, and weather was good, and a lot of kids came out parading their costumes one more day. And then, of course, our Christmas decorations is slowly ongoing. The cedar trees we have in planter boxes, they will be transformed into mini Christmas trees. 2 new stores opened recently in the past month. That would be True Hamiltonian, fully open now, and right beside me actually, and Bloom Coffee is finally opened. It took about an 8-month renovations, and they're finally open. Our upcoming event, starting this Friday, is a Taylor Swift night at the karaoke bar, and we're essentially just piggybacking on the buzz that the Taylor Swift concert happening in Toronto starting on Friday. And of course, we have Breakfast with Santa upcoming on December 7th. We do have the ability to have the free Breakfast with Santa for 50 kids and 50 parents, capacity to 100. I'm still playing around with how to advertise this, being fair as well as being free without being swarmed. And then that would essentially be my next plans happening.
Okay, great. Now on to David from Dundas.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah.
I have to admit to being ill-prepared to give this report, so I'm going to wing it because I really am just into week 3 here in Dundas, so catch up is the name of the game. We were quite a stretch without an ED, so kind of playing catch up a little bit here and finding a few things, maybe a few T's not crossed and a few I's not dotted. So our holiday season gets underway on November 29th with our tree lighting, and then our Dickens of a Christmas events throughout the month, right up until Christmas Day. So we're in preparation for all of that. Our AGM was supposed to be next week. Again, sort of trying to get a plan in place and be ready for that. We bumped that to January 21st to allow for a little bit better planning and little strategy of where we're heading and whatnot. So that's the best update I can give today. Next time I will have quite a bit more, I promise. But
You get a pass today, and that was a good update.
Thank you.
And now on to Nadine from Barton.
David, welcome, and you're in good company. I often feel ill prepared for these meetings as well. They always sneak up on me. Our biggest thing right now is our AGM coming November 25th. Doing the AGM in partnership with a fundraiser this year, which we're hosting at Westinghouse. Should be a really great time. We have 6 restaurants that are participating, donating canapé or appetizer rounds that are included in the ticket price, $25. Looking forward to seeing you all there. I'll pause for the smiles. We're going to be doing a window decorating contest within Barton Village this year, where the businesses will have the opportunity to decorate their windows for the holidays. And they will be there'll be a panel of judges that'll go around to determine a winner of that. 541 is doing a holiday market in partnership with Gala's holiday event. Also a Santa photo op situation also happening at Westinghouse. Hamilton Day was successful but quieter than we typically see. So doing a bit of an evaluation on how we can address some of those concerns. Proud to say that when the Hamilton Spectator Reader's Choice Awards winners came out, that we saw 15 winners within the BIA. It was phenomenal to see how many of our businesses were included in those lists. many of them taking first place. So, and excited to say that we are hiring a full-time marketing and events coordinator. It was posted yesterday. That position will be posted until November 24th, at which point we'll be conducting interviews for the candidate to hit the ground running in January. I'm very, very excited about the ability to bring on another full-time role. Yeah, that's it for me.
That's great. Now on to Emily from downtown.
Nothing new happening downtown at all. Nothing crazy. No, I kid. We obviously had an incredibly concerning situation with a building crumbling and falling into our most used event space down here. We are waiting to see what impact that will be having on our Christmas event, which is planned for December 6th. But so far, we're hopeful that we can still move forward and go ahead with that programming. Just a concerning situation overall, but we adapt, we move on. We had Christmas, or Halloween, I mean, a couple weeks ago, and it was incredibly successful in Gore Park. It was really nice to see everyone come out and see all the cool costumes. A lot of good activations downtown, so it was a good time. We have had our third full-time staff start here yesterday. In the tradition of wearing many hats in the BIA, she is going to be tackling some marketing, some member engagement, and also increase our streetscape data capabilities in reporting infrastructure issues to the city. So we're very excited to see where that takes us. Our AGM is on Thursday, so we're just finishing up getting ready for that and looking forward to planning everything in the future.
Great, thanks. And next, Stephanie from Ottawa Street.
Hey everyone, I'll start with a little bit of our fall event wrap up. On the 26th, we had Halloween Haunt, and typically we've previously had a door-to-door trick-or-treating experience, but based on feedback of how expensive that can be for the 130 business owners on the street, we did a centralized parkette event. And at one time we did a number count. We had over 500 people there. It was wonderful to trickle in and trickle out. I guided almost kind of like when you're in school, you do a costume parade. I did that along Ottawa Street with only pre-registered shops. That way people who did want the trick-or-treating got it, but people who didn't get it. It was very well attended. Great community feedback. I hope this is the way we'll do it next year as well. Right after next weekend, we had Hamilton Day. It was awesome. We had Little Rays at Earl's Court Gallery. We had Triple C Farms at the Parkette. We've never had a donkey at the Parkette before. It was amazing. It created a lot of, I don't know, just accidental shopping. People stayed on the street for many hours. We love that. Following that, we had our AGM on the 5th. Thank you, Christina, for being there. It was calm, pretty eventful, and record attendance for the last few years. So I'm very pleased about that. Our next event is December 7th, our holiday cheer. We have horse-drawn carriage rides. We have our stand-up photo op at Crown and Press. We'll have Winston, our steel drummer at the Parkette, and some carolers from local high schools. We had our decor swapped out on Halloween. So now we have our Christmas tree up, our icicles, and our snowflakes. We have one new vacancy at 118-120 Ottawa Street North. It was previously an appointment-only tattoo shop, and they have been evicted. So we will now have a new business in that space. Last meeting, we had a new vacancy at 323, which was previously Boho Studios, an antique shop, and it's now SARE, S-A-R-E Extensions. And
Okay, great. Great, thank you. I'm going to pass the chair to Susan so I can do my update for International Village. So on October 19th, we did our pop-up Village Pride at Ferguson Station, which was a great event. Probably my most favorite event I've ever done here. We had a great turnout, good vibes, the weather was great, and we saw some wonderful performances. We did Hamilton Day. We partnered with Girl on the Wing, who did a marketplace at Ferguson Station and called it Love Letters to Hamilton. They had Posey come out with old-fashioned typewriters, and people could come up and sit with them, and they sort of put together poems about why they loved Hamilton, which was great. Our next and final event of the year will be December 6th, following the Gore Park tree lighting, hopefully, Emily. It'll be called Night in the Village. So basically, it's just a late night shopping event. It's been quite a while since we've done any nighttime events, but with the trees up by then, hopefully, wink, wink, Christina, and all of the normal lights in the trees, hopefully it'll create a good experience for shoppers. We currently have our corn stalks up. If you haven't seen them, everybody's really loving them. Those will be coming down hopefully this week or next, and our Christmas decor will be going up. So where we'll have swags on the poles. As always, it's been a busy time for advocacy for downtown, lots of meetings behind the scenes and trying to get supports down here. One of the things our board has decided this year to focus on is hiring some paid duties over some Saturdays leading up to Christmas and working with the police. So it's going to be a combination of paid duties as well as some of the police down here, like the horses and things helping us. So trying to create a safe ambiance for shoppers. And yeah, other than that, it's been probably the busiest year I've had. So looking forward to Christmas break this year, not gonna lie. So I'll take the chair back from Susan, and may I have a mover and seconder to receive the statements? Moved by Nadine, seconded by Heather. All in favor? Carried. Okay, is there any other business? Nadine?
Yeah, I just wanted to circle back. Emily mentioned the collapse of the building in Gore Park. I have some concerns about some properties within my BIA that are in a similar situation and not far from meeting the same fate. And I'm wondering if we can have a discussion around what potentially we could do or what we could ask for support from the city in terms of engaging property owners. Some of these buildings have building permits that have been open for years with no action on them. In some cases, we have otherwise unhoused folks squatting in these buildings, and I'm concerned that somebody's going to get hurt. So yeah, I'm curious. I know that this probably is a larger concern for me and my BIA than it is for some others, but I'm wondering if anybody has any ideas or, yeah.
Any comments from anybody on that? Christina?
Hi, everyone. Okay. So obviously with what has happened in Gore Park, I suspect there's going to be a much brighter lens put on this issue. And I don't think, it sounds like this is not something exclusive to the downtown core. In the interim, what I would suggest, if there are properties that are of concern, I would definitely reach out to property standards. At minimum, engage them and have them come out and do a site visit to at least get the right area of city staff's eyes on these properties, and potentially just help them create a list of properties that may be of heightened concern. That's what I would suggest for now. As I hear more information coming out, obviously I will cascade on whatever I can to all of you to help you guys manage these things. But that's what I would suggest for the immediate.
So through the chair, we've been in contact with some folks at the city. Just as an example, I have a property that has had 4 fires. And there's still nothing happening other than fire coming out, putting out a blaze, the property being boarded back up. This property has 2 open building permits and no action. I have a foundation that has been dug and poured that's been sitting for years that has sidewalk hoarding in front of it. I would like I would like to know if there is a way to, I'm part of the frustration comes from seeing things like a vacant residential unit tax. And knowing that there are commercial units sitting empty that property owners have no interest in doing anything with, that are now at a place where they're falling down.
Through the chair, I absolutely hear your concerns. You know what, Nadine, why don't I give you a call this afternoon and we can put our heads together on this, if that's okay.
Yeah, I recognize that some of the concerns that I deal with in the North End are a little bit different.
Yeah.
But seeing something like this happen in the downtown core is just, it's terrifying.
Agreed. I mean, property standards should never waver. They're there for a reason. So if it's okay, I will call you this afternoon and we can talk a little bit more about your concerns.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Emily, did you have something to say?
Yeah, just sharing some of my knowledge. The city does have a vacant building registry, which should kick in after a building being vacant for 90 days. It requires the building to post the owner's contact name and information on the building itself. It also requires or kicks in a process then that the building is supposed to be inspected. That's the word I'm looking for, 4 times a year. So how that process is functioning, I'm not sure, but that is what the city is allegedly requiring.
And what qualifies as vacant?
Unoccupied for over 90 days.
But unoccupied by who?
Anyone, I believe.
So if the property owner doesn't deem the property vacant.
Yeah, it does seem to be very much on the property owner. It says that it's their responsibility to register as a vacant building. It does say that there could be notices from the city, but not sure how often those are going out.
I appreciate the info, Emily.
You're welcome.
I'll look into it.
Councillor Wilson, do you have something to add?
Well, I do think that the corporation has a responsibility to meet with and respond to these BIA people. So I'm wondering whether there needs to be a formal motion requesting that at the very least, someone from property standards and building appear at the next meeting to hear and listen.
Can certainly make a motion to invite them. I can't compel them to come, but to invite them to the next meeting or a meeting that's as soon as possible.
Yeah. So do we need a motion for that? So moved by Councillor Wilson, seconded by Nadine. All in favor? And carried. Is there any other business to come from the meeting today? Okay, may I have a mover and seconder to adjourn. Moved by Heather, seconded by Susan. All in favor? Thanks everybody for a great meeting and we'll see you next month. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.